So then, how do you prepare the table, right? So, preparing the table begins with, I want to really say that preparing your table really begins in high school. That if we all did what we were supposed to do in high school in terms of planning, that we started to plan somewhere at the end of sophomore year to junior year, I think we would have fared a lot better. Um, because when you don't plan, you end up just taking anything. And I had that as an issue. I worked in high school. I did the co-op program where I worked half a day, and then I went to work for a company, Hunt Oil Company here um, in Dallas, Texas. And so I got job experience for 2 years. However, I didn't really plan beyond those 2 years. I thought I was going to go to the military. It didn't work out, and I didn't have a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. I didn't have anything beyond that. So then now I'm forced to I took some staffing jobs, some temporary agency type jobs that lasted for a good year or so. And then once those jobs end, you really don't have anything else. So now I'm sort of floating. I'm wondering. I don't know where I need to be. So sometimes you take jobs that are not really conducive to your individual success. You just need some money. And then somehow I happened on to a job where I could do customer service. And then somehow that transitioned into me doing retail. So what that basically says or suggests is that I didn't prepare the table. That sure, I knew I was going to graduate from high school. I should have had a plan, but we don't think like that. And our parents tend to sort of expect us to leave the house too early. So all that time that we wasted not planning, we're now forced to confront the world. And I've always been an advocate of maybe letting your child stay at the house until about 22, give or take 25, because I don't feel like you are truly an adult at 18. Of course, you always want to leave yourself. Uh, but preparing the table is essentially preparing for where you want to go. Where do you have now graduated from high school? Where do you want to take yourself? And if we all had the insight or the foresight before we graduated, I don't think we would really get into a lot of distractions. Now, some people do. What they do is they go on ahead and take the SATs, the PSATs. They do all of the stuff that they need to do. They turn in applications, and then that following fall they do go to college, or they go to junior college. That didn't register with me. That wasn't necessarily encouraged initially. It became something of a last resort. And so I wish I had had the insight about that. Now it's a lot that I don't really do a whole lot of regretting with my life, but preparing the table is something that I teach today. I don't call it that. What I call it is a 2-year transition plan. So even when I graduated from college with the master's degree, I didn't have a plan. When I graduated with the undergraduate degree, the bachelor's degree, it was obvious that I needed a plan. I mean, no, I'm sorry. It was obvious that I needed a master's degree to teach at the college level. So I didn't necessarily need a plan. I just needed to put in an application at a university, master's program, get in, do my 2 to 3 years, and go. But once I finished my master's degree, I didn't have a plan. I didn't prepare the table. And so even though the degree prepared me for where I needed to go, I still needed to prepare myself for where I needed to go. So when you are thinking about preparing the table, thinking about where you want to take yourself, where do you want to be, what do you want to become, and you begin to plan out those steps. Those are the types of assignments that I give out for my students, where I will have them to do an annotated bibliography of the schools that they are interested in transferring to, because I teach at the community college level, and then also an annotated bibliography entry of their intended career objectives, so that you know what's going on with your career now. So if your career, if a job announcement is asking for X amount of things, XYZ, in 2023, what do you think they're going to be asking for when you graduate in 2 to 4 years? And so putting them in the mindset of planning. So the how do you prepare the table is really just thinking about your life in 2 year increment transition planning. So you know that you have graduated from college, and you know that everyone has to pay their dues, do the entry level. And so then now that you have the job, where do you want to take yourself? Now let's learn about the company, let's learn about the job. Okay, or is there any way to advance, right, to a supervisor or manager level? What is required? So then you draw up your plan, you sit at the table, and you prepare for where you prepare now for where you want to go, even in your job. You don't let things just happen. This is what happens with people who stay at a job for 25 years. They never plan for advancement, and then someone comes in off the street, takes the job in a year, they plan for advancement, and they actually do advance. And so then they say, the person who has the 25 years experience, well, I've been here all this time. Why didn't you move me up? And then the supervisor will say, yeah, but you never indicated that that's what you wanted to do. And so preparing your table really does take that sort of step by step, order by order, to your transition planning. So if you have a 5 year plan for whatever it is that you want to do, whether it is to get a house, whether it is to get an advanced degree, whether it is to move up in your career, do it. Take that as a 5 year plan, but chop it up into 2 year increments. And by the third year, you want to reassess, and then confirm that in the next 2 years, you're going in the right direction, right? So how do you prepare the table? It all depends upon transition planning, 2 year transition planning, the type of table you do want to sit at later. There are different types of tables. There's a organization table, there's a political table, there's an advocacy table, there is wanting to become a senator table, uh, wanting to become a small business owner, an entrepreneur. There are all different types of tables. So how do you prepare your table? And this is something that you need to think about before you decide that you want to get into a relationship.